Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. There are 26 new cases of COVID-19 in Saskatchewan. 2 of those are in the Northwest, with 1 new case in the immediate Lloydminster area, where we have 17 active cases. There are 287 active cases province-wide, with 33 in the Northwest. 59 people are in hospital, including 7 in our zone. More than 1.36 million doses of the vaccine have been administered in Saskatchewan, with over 84,000 in the Northwest. Throughout the month of June, the Give Me Shelter YLL campaign ran across the border city as a way to raise money for a few community organizations. And yesterday afternoon, the checks were presented.
Dawn Lawrence Flowen runs her own jewelry business, DLF Designs, and she came up with the idea for the campaign as a way to help Lloydminster's vulnerable population. She sold handmade jewelry and made over $6,000, and all the profits went towards the Lloydminster Interval Home Society and the Lloydminster Social Action Coalition Society.
I think a lot of people don't talk about homelessness or home insecurity because of sometimes people feel shame around that, and there shouldn't be that shame. I think that we need to talk about we as a community and how we can help those that are the most vulnerable in our community.
Home Hardware Building Center Lloydminster partnered with Dawn and the Give Me Shelter campaign as they sold her jewelry out of the store and also collected cash donations at the till.
It's something that's really important to us, that we use our space, our voice, our ability to reach a lot of people to help get these messages out for these important agencies.
Over the past 15 months, it has been hard for local nonprofits to raise funds, and having the support from the community through campaigns such as this one makes a huge difference.
I want to say thank you to the community for the support. It's extremely needed in the community, absolutely, as Dawn kind of spoke to. We'll be able to use these funds for helping our clients get support. So whether that means, Dawn mentioned taxi vouchers, haircuts, all of those things that we tend to take for granted when we have the means to just go throughout our days without thinking of these things.
The Interval Home Society and the Social Action Coalition Society will both be putting the money they received back into their programming.
Providing daily essentials to some of our clients. So we provide meals out the door throughout the week. We provide breakfast, lunch, and suppers, snacks, water. Just general operating services like running water, letting people that haven't had a shower in a week utilize the facilities.
Dawn sold around 130 pieces and spent more than 200 hours making the jewelry.
While Lloydminster City Council won't be meeting for the next few weeks, the council chambers will still be busy as it's set to receive some renovations. The $83,000 project will see upgrades made to the audio and video equipment in the chamber. The city hopes to improve the viewing experience for those sitting in the gallery and watching the live stream.
If we go back to the discussions about transparency, openness, that people can actually see and hear what's going on at council. You can see the decisions, you can see the expressions on people's faces, the passion, the discussion, the concern.
The need to upgrade the audio-visual capabilities in the chamber were highlighted during the pandemic as restrictions forced more residents to attend council meetings virtually.
Some of that technology is fairly aged in that room. We have had challenges over the last term with the quality of sound. Certainly with COVID and the barriers and things like that, that challenged us. So with these additions and upgrades, I think you'll be very impressed as the people watching and seeing.
Council will meet next for a Governance and Priorities Committee meeting on August 16th. Welcome back. The amount of confirmed cases of chronic wasting disease in deer and elk is on the rise. Similar to mad cow disease, CWD affects the animal's brain and nervous system. Jillian Code has the details.
Chronic wasting disease is a prion disease found in cervids, the family which deer, elk, and moose belong to. The animals can spread the disease to each other through direct contact, but it can also be spread through the environment.
So the infected deer and elk spread lots of infectivity via urine, via feces, saliva I mentioned. Then at the end, we have dead carcasses in the environment and so on. And this type of infectivity remains infectious for years to many years.
Both Alberta and Saskatchewan have mandatory testing in hunting areas which have had confirmed chronic wasting disease cases.
Testing over the last years showed that what we call incidence, how much we have based on this hunter-killed heads testing, went from below 1% to now in mule deer above 15%, 1.5, and in white-tailed deer it's now around 5%, and the tendency it's really increasing.
The Lloydminster area has had mandatory testing for chronic wasting disease ever since the first cases were found here in the 90s. A 2020 report from the Alberta government shows that chronic wasting disease is still very prevalent in this area. Testing can be done at North Battleford, but soon Lloydminster area residents will be able to test right at home.
We, the Lloydminster and District Fish and Game, are going to be setting up a kiosk here on our property. And so it just gives hunters the ability to get their heads sent in. And so we'll end up getting more heads tested with the more places you can drop them off.
Researchers from the University of Calgary fed CWD infected meat to macaws, a type of primate, to see if the prion disease could cross the species barrier. The end results suggested that it may be possible.
CWD has the potential to infect humans. So we don't know whether this happened. There is no known case of human CWD, and we only can predict how it will develop in the future.
In addition to testing, researchers are in the midst of developing a vaccine for the disease, which Dr. Schetzel says may be available within 5 years. Efforts are now going towards preventing CWD from traveling too far north, where remote communities rely on hunting for survival. Jillian Code, Primetime Local News.
Now we'll take a look at your egg prices. With a 2019 report determining that Centennial Civic Center has 5 to 7 years left in its lifespan, discussion of a new event arena heated up at this week's City Council meeting, with a designer being selected. Jace Mackey joins Evan Kenny to break it down.
Safety is huge, the energy efficiency. We want a building that's going to last us minimum 60 to 70 years, we hope, if not longer. So those are all pieces that are all critical for an architect to bring together. And I think we brought together a great architectural firm as well as a planning firm, because there's planning involved in the inside and outside. So I'm very excited about the award today and moving forward.
Well, that was Mayor Gerald Alber's Monday afternoon after City Council, where TBD Architecture and Urban Planning was awarded the design contract for a new arena here in Lloydminster. Joining me today to break this all down is our City Council reporter, Jace Mackey. Jace, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Evan.
Now, Jace, obviously exciting time, the potential of Lloydminster getting this new arena. While it is still quite a ways away, things are starting to get going on it. I guess just, before we get into talks about the contractor and about the different, possible design plans, just give us a little bit of background on this new arena plan.
Well, like you said, there's still a ways to go, but this process started a long time ago, and as everything in government, things really take a long time. So back in 2018, the city began internal and also external reviews of the operational feasibility of a lot of different facilities. So that wasn't just the Civic Center, that was, different, the BioClean Aquatic Center was also on that list. So the following year, they received a report from an external review, basically saying that the Civic Center has about 5 to 7 years left in its lifespan. And then that led City Council to prioritize the construction of a new event arena to replace the Centennial Civic Center due to its condition and the limited life expectancy of that arena.
Now, Jace, there were 9 different companies bidding on this project. Obviously, TBD Architecture does come out on top. I guess just what put them ahead of those other 8 companies?
So like you said, there was 9 companies that put forward bids for this design contract. Now the city evaluated the bids for different criteria such as corporate and staff qualifications and financial summary. So after they went through all of the bids, they kind of gave them a score. And after that first process, TBD was actually in the second position with the second best score. The top 3 from that then went into an interview process with city administration. After that interview process, TBD was moved to the top of the list. Now, some councillors were questioning that decision because the second place bid was $50,000 less than what TBD came in with. But city administration says TBD was the best vendor and best option after that interview process. They point to their experience with different sports facilities as they have a lot of sports knowledge already and good consultants to work with. Also, they have a lot of experience with green and making sure that the construction process is green and the building is environmentally sustainable. And that's something that's important for arenas as they do use quite a lot of energy, keeping things cool, also keeping fans warm at the same time. And also when it comes to getting, especially federal grants, if you have a lot of environmental components in that project, a lot of those grants are contingent on being environmentally friendly.
It was incredible to hear those proposals and some of the short versions of staff reporting back to council on what those interviews looked like. In one particular case, in the firm that was chosen today by council, brings a multitude of experts from building green, and ensuring that building is as efficient and as energy efficient, because energy is a very huge cost in recreation.
And Jay, some of those past projects, like you mentioned, they've done quite a bit of work with different rec centers, across really the province of Alberta. Some of the more prominent ones, obviously Rogers Place and their community arena there, the Morinville Rec Center, the Leduc Rec Center as well, the Clairview Rec Center in Edmonton. All of these, obviously have hockey rinks, but as well different components to it. Now, none of those are in Lloydminster here, obviously, Jace. So let's just move it back to the local look here. Where could this arena be within Lloydminster? I know one councillor, Aaron Buckingham, was hoping to keep the arena on the Saskatchewan side.
Yeah, for sure. And city administration has a preferred potential location. So this is where they want it to be, but it's not 100% sure. So that location is on the Saskatchewan side of the city, east of 40th Avenue, between 36th Street and 41st Street, right behind Gold Horse Casino. So the reason that is a preferred piece of land is the city already owns that piece of land, so they wouldn't have to, buy a new piece of land. It also has a good connection to Highway 16, so getting people in and out of that area, they're hoping is good. So now that the TBD has been awarded this over $1.4 million contract, the next steps really go towards soil testing on that land. So they're going to test and make sure that they can, that is a good, suitable piece of land, but it isn't set in stone yet. And depending on how things go, they may be looking at some other options around the city as well.
Well, Jace, like you said, there are some next steps, but we do still have to wait a while until we will be seeing the new Lloydminster Arena. Jace, I'm sure we'll be talking again soon on this, keeping the people updated. Thank you very much for taking this time and joining me.
For sure. Thanks a lot, Evan.
Now Connor Chan will take another look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks very much, Asmund. Still sitting around the 21-degree mark. We're going to see probably that rain, at least for a little bit, parts into the evening. Chances of thunder showers as well, if we haven't already seen that. Of course, Edmonton was hit with lots of wind yesterday, and lots of parts of the central Alberta seeing massive wind gusts that has been a bit of the talk in parts of Alberta for today. And most of that system that we're going to get is from the Edmonton area. So looking out further west right now, a little bit cooler temperatures in those mid-teens, 12 degrees in Edmonton, 17 in Athabasca and Jasper, with 18 in Whitecourt. Much different in Saskatchewan. One of the warmer spots in Canada today was in Saskatoon at 33 degrees, 32 in Prince Albert and in Melfort as well. Looking up to the northern parts, there could be some thunder showers making their way up to the northern parts into the weekend here. So 23 though for La Loche and Buffalo Narrows, 24 in Stony Rapids, and then 26 in L'Orange right now. Looking up to northern Alberta, also in the mid-teens to low 20s still, 21 in Fort McMurray, 23 in Fort Chipewyan, and then 18 for high level Peace River River and in Grand Prairie as well. Looking over to southern Alberta, also still staying fairly warm as we're close to the 30-degree mark in Lethbridge at 29, 31 in Medicine Hat, 25 for Calgary, and then 24 up in Coronation. So things have been still fairly consistent with southern Alberta. Also fairly warm in southern Saskatchewan. Also, I did say Saskatoon was one of the warmer spots. It's Moose Jaw more so, and Regina as they're sitting at 33 and 35 degrees for today right now. 31 also in Swift Current, and then 30 degrees in Kindersley. As we look ahead across the country here, 29 degrees in Winnipeg, 21 in Quebec City, 24 in Toronto. A little bit of storms could be brewing up there as later on into the week as well. So everywhere is going to be getting some thunder showers as well. We see 11 in St. John's with some fog coverage right now. Of course, Edmonton still sitting at cloud coverage themselves at 12 degrees. 21 in Vancouver right now with 20 degrees in Yellowknife, and then 19 all the way up in the Yukon in Whitehorse. Now, tomorrow we are going to see things starting to clear up a lot more as we're expecting clear skies throughout the day, but not as hot as we would have liked to see, but we're still going to see clear skies nonetheless. So we're starting to start to see that as we're not seeing as much smoke in the air as much anymore from the wildfire. So things are starting to part ways nicely as we're starting to see that sunshine back here into the border city. So 21 is expected for tomorrow as we'll see that number in the area in Marwayne, Vermilion, Maidstone, as well as up in Bonnyville and Cold Lake as well. 24 in Edmonton tomorrow, so they'll double what they're seeing right now as their high right now. 21 in Maidstone, and then 24 degrees in North Battleford for tomorrow. Going ahead into the next couple of days here, we are going to start to see pretty consistent temperatures with our averages for the month of July, which is 23 for the high and 11 for the low. So we'll see some clear skies for Friday, Saturday, a little bit more cloud coverage coming back on Sunday and Monday there. We'll see pretty much so in those mid-20s back into the week here. 24 on Tuesday, 26 Wednesday, and then 24 degrees, on Thursday with that sun and cloud mixes, and we could see some showers also potentially on Monday. That's a look at your weather for now. We'll have more primetime local news after the break. Dr. Tracy Risling from the University of Saskatchewan joins us here today on Primetime Local News, and we're chatting today about a new service for Saskatchewan residents when it comes to mental health support with BSaskWell. So Dr. Risling, give us an overview of this new service that's being offered.
Absolutely. So SaskWell is actually part of a research project that we started, really because it's funded by the Canadian Institutes of Health Research and here provincially by the Saskatchewan Health Research Foundation, really recognizing, several months ago, a need to think about the impact of the pandemic on mental health and wellness. And so SaskWell was the intervention that we thought would be really useful, and it was funded. And here we are.
What has the overall traffic been like so far? Have you gotten lots of people in those early stages signing up, and what has been the response been like so far?
Great. That's such a great question. So essentially how it's been working is we had a 10-week kind of cycle to begin, and we worked with a patient and community advisory group, and we signed up kind of upwards of 100 folks just to really give it a test run, right? So in that first 10 weeks, we worked out some bugs. We work with our partner MemoText, who makes all of the texting magic happen for us. And so we worked in the sign up and on the messages that get sent to folks. And now we're in this really exciting second 10-week stage where we're really encouraging people across the province to sign up and to really take advantage of this service.
Now, someone who wants to sign up, what are some of those text messages that they get? Like, what are some of the things that they say when you receive the daily text messages from BSaskWell?
Okay, perfect. So let's walk through it a little bit. So you decide to sign up. Maybe you have your cell phone with you right now. If so, open up a new message for texting, and you just text 759-355, and you text the word join. So that's your very first step. You can also sign up online or watch for our posters in the community that have a handy QR code, or you can even give us a call on our 1-800 number. But let's pretend you texted join to the number and you're ready to go. Now you're going to get an enrollment survey, which is going to give you some interesting information right away. It's going to, after you answer a few questions, tell you where you're kind of living right now on the languishing to flourishing scale, right? And then it's going to take a bit more information, like, do you have regular access to data? You know, how's your data plan? You know, and just kind of walk you through a few of the particulars. Then right away, you're ready to go in a 10-week cycle. One of the first things that'll happen is that you'll get a link to a digital health, mental health wellness resource, and you can try it out. And then we're going to check in with you. How do you like this resource? Does it work for you? No, right? And so you'll try that out, and we can continually send you different ones until you find one that really works for you. One of the favorite things, though, with our patient team is the wellness messaging. So then during the week, not so much, we don't want to irritate folks with the texting, but a few times a week, you're going to get a reminder, a tip about wellness. And we've had everything from the beauty of stargazing to getting outside to, you know, deep breathing to grounding exercises to journaling. We have a real whole host. And then you'll start to get those messages as well.
With, of course, Saskatchewan lifting restrictions and life getting back to normal, are the expectations from your end that more people will hopefully benefit or sign up from this app at a time where, you know, we're still in a pandemic and people's mental health is still playing a major role because of COVID?
Yeah, I really think we need to recognize that even though there's lots to celebrate about where we are on the pandemic journey, every chance I get to immunize someone, I feel like is a celebration for me and for folks, right? So as a nurse, I've been engaged in that. And so we know that, every day, every week brings us new tools to kind of manage the pandemic. And right now we're on that very, positive kind of post-pandemic trajectory. But we've been living this life for a long time. It still causes stress and anxiety to make a big change like this. And that's okay. And I think part of SaskWell, and you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And then we send other messages too, just to remind folks that even though there's a lot to be happy about where we're headed, it can still be stressful, and that's okay. And taking time for yourself and your wellness is still going to be a priority. And then in the final 10 weeks, which will hit, I think, right around that back to school through into our Saskatchewan winter, we'll really be thinking about changing up the messaging to support folks who are maybe going back to an office for the first time, or, having to get that commuting routine back online when maybe you've been doing some work from home. So that's the great thing about the services. We'll change up those messages to support as the journey kind of changes for us.
I think that's really great how there's lots of reminders, different kinds of reminders, as you said, that as people start to get back to their normal and, because we're so used to being locked inside for a long time, it's just going to be nice for people to get back adjusted to normal life. And lastly, I know you already touched on it, but just a reminder for the viewers, how can people sign up once again? And if they want more info, where can they go?
Absolutely. So you can find us. You can search Be SaskWell on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, or really easy way is just to text join. I'm going to make sure I get the number right. Text join to 759-355. You can sign up online, and we have a 1-800 number as well that you can call. Say, for example, if your data access isn't the greatest, or maybe you're up at the lake or somewhere on vacation and you still want to sign up, you can always give us a shout that way. And keep in mind, if you sign up for this cycle, this 10-week cycle, you can still carry on into our third cycle in the fall, because I think we're going to have some really great tips about our ongoing adjustment to post-pandemic life.
Well, Dr. Risling, I really appreciate your time. Just thank you so much for joining us. And I hope many people do take advantage of this wonderful service that's being presented to them. So thank you.
Thanks so much for giving us a chance to share the SaskWell news. Appreciate it.
I'm excited to be joined on Primetime Local News today by Shelby Newkirk. Shelby, I'm just so honored to speak with you. You are heading to the Paralympics in Tokyo. You're speaking to us today from Saskatoon. So first of all, I have to say congratulations on your long list of accomplishments and getting to compete in Tokyo.
Thank you so much.
So let's talk about the process. it's got to be so much work and dedication to get to this point. So how did the process work for you to find out that eventually you were selected to compete in Tokyo?
Yeah, so it's definitely been a long ways to get here. I actually found out that I made the team back in 2019 at World Championships. So how Canada does it is if we got gold or silver at World Championships, then we'd secure our spot for Tokyo. And I knew that going into the race. I knew that I was ranked in second place, and I was so tired going into that race that a bunch of my coaches, they weren't even sure if I'd be able to make it to the wall, let alone actually medal. And I came in just 0.5 of a second behind the person in gold, and I got my silver, and I knew at that point that I'd secured my spot for Tokyo.
So once that happens, is it all focused then on the Olympics, everything that you do?
Pretty much. It's kind of all been focused on Tokyo for years, to be honest. I first set my goal to be in Tokyo in 2015. And ever since then, all eyes have been on Tokyo. I've been working towards it ever since then. But I also definitely believe in balance in life. So I'm a student, I coach, I run 2 businesses on the side. Like I have other things going on as well, but especially this year, I've really had to focus in on Tokyo. So while it's nice to have those other things to kind of focus on in life as well, this year, all eyes have kind of been going forward towards the Paralympics.
Now, this Olympics is going to be different than many other Olympics because of COVID. You know, there's not going to be fans in the stand, a lot of precautions you have to take. When do you head over there? And has that changed from time to time because of the fact that the restrictions keep changing?
Yeah. Our original plan was actually to train in Japan. We would have been leaving quite shortly, actually. And obviously that changed a few. Actually, we still don't even have our final flights booked yet. Team Canada's just working all that. But our current plan is that we'll be leaving for Vancouver on August 3rd, so in just under 2 weeks. And then we'll be leaving for Tokyo August 19th, landing the 20th, and competition will start on the 25th.
So how exciting is this for you, Shelby? I can't even imagine. It's the dream of so many who try and can't make it, but you've made it to this point now where you're on the world stage. So is it still a little surreal for you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Like this is a dream come true for sure. And for years, I've known that I wanted to make this team. And back in 2017, when I made the national team for the first time, I broke 2 America's records at our trials that year. And I made my first Canadian team. And I'm like, hey, like this could actually happen. Like this could be a dream that could happen. And that was the same year I broke my first world record. And the next year I got gold at Parapan Pacific Games. And the next year I got silver at Worlds, and it was all just kind of like, okay, it's getting more real. But even now, knowing that in like basically a month, I'll be leaving for Tokyo, and I'll be going into the village, and all these things I have dreamed of for so long will finally be coming true. And I think it's just so cool, and I think it's going to be such a great experience.
Now, you talk about the number of records that you've broken or hold. Have you been able to keep track of that? Is that something that you focus on, or is it just nice when it happens and then focus on something else?
I'm a big fan of goal setting. I always have been. And so I kind of see these as the smaller goals that I have like as stepping stones. So I broke my first Canadian records in fall of 2016. And I remember I thought that was such a pinnacle. And I'm like, I broke like Canadian records, like I'm the fastest in Canada. And I kind of let that sit with me for a minute. And then I'm like, but like, what's the next one? What's the next goal that I can go to now? And so I kind of celebrated that one. And then I looked at, okay, I want to get America's records. And once I did that, I'm like, hey, I'm like only about a second off from the world record. Let's see if we can make this happen. So yeah, I've kind of just been building on that, and I've definitely lost track here and there. Every now and then I'll go kind of back through the Canadian records. I'm like, oh, I have 14 now, which is the current. And yeah, so I think some of those little victories are still really important to celebrate. They're still great achievements. I'm still super proud of them, but yeah, I've lost track a few times throughout the years.
Well, and Shelby, you're doing kind of a cool thing now too to help out with the Paralympic swimming program. There's shirts that people can buy that are for Team Shelby, so they can support you in the Olympics and support swimming. So, how does this work? How can people order the shirts to support the Paralympic swim program?
Yeah, so the shirts actually kind of started. We had a lot of people asking for fan shirts, and that's something quite common that people will do. And so they have kind of like this logo that I designed on the front with my slogan, Dream Big, Smile Bigger, which is something that I always like to say, and that says Team Shelby on the back. And so while we were making these for people, we realized like, hey, this could actually be an opportunity to help out up and coming swimmers. And so that's why we decided to do the fundraiser for the upcoming swimmers. So you can check it out on my Instagram, Facebook, anything like that. And there's basically a website set up that has all the details. You can email Team Shelby YXE@gmail.com to place an order, and you can get more info through there as well. And all funds are donated. So I think it's going to be really cool, and I'm really excited to see what the funds can go towards for our local club.
Well, Shelby, thank you so much for speaking with me today. I know you're a busy person and you've got so much going on, but we wish you the best of luck in the Paralympics, and just know that all of Saskatchewan and Canada and, you know, your hometown, your home city, your dad's hometown of Maple Creek, which is where I grew up and connected with you that way. Everybody is just cheering you on and so excited for you. So congratulations, and we wish you the best of luck.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right, taking one last look here at your weather forecast. 21 degrees for tomorrow, as we are going to start to see things get a little clearer in the forecast. 22 on Sunday and Monday, as we're going to go back to some sun and cloud mixes throughout the week. And we could see temperatures stay pretty consistent with our daytime highs and lows. We're still in that severe thunderstorm watch, as we should be seeing some more rain coming within the next couple of hours, but should clear up by at least around that 9 and 10 o'clock range tonight. But nonetheless, we'll have some nice clear sunny skies for the upcoming weekend.
Thank you for joining us on Primetime Local News. Have a great rest of your night.